cops. There's two cases, and we'll start with the one because the one is the latest, and that is the case with Rayshard Brooks. A lot of heated discussion we were having here earlier. We'll finish it up now. Even J-Dog was nipping at my heels on this one. All right, so so Rayshard Brooks was a gentleman, 27-year-old black man, pulled over, not pulled over, was actually asleep in Wendy's drive-through after he had been driving drunk. Now, just some history that you guys might not know, and this isn't to knock him, this is just facts, so you guys know because the media isn't sharing this. He had gone to prison before for abuse, physical abuse, and if I recall the story correctly, one was on children, all right, so his own children, and I believe a spouse too. Now, double check me on that, I could be wrong, but he had definitely gone to prison for abuse. Now, he had violated probation. He got sentenced to 7 years. He only spent 1 year in prison, and he got out, and I think within a year or two, he had already violated his parole. He ended up going back for another stint, but he didn't finish the remaining stint. Typically, if you go back, you break parole, you go back and you finish out your sentence. This didn't happen in Georgia. He went back a year, and then he got out, and honestly, within a year or two, he violated parole again, but this time they considered it something that was minuscule, and they just let him go. I'm not trying to knock him. I'm not justifying the shooting because of this, but I will say this. I do believe that the shooting is justified, but not because of the information I just shared. I'll get into why I believe the shooting was absolutely justified. So Rayshard Brooks in the drive-thru of Wendy's gets the cops come. The cops were called by someone, so the cops arrive. They talk to this man. He goes, a long rigmarole. They do everything they can, I think, to be nice to this guy. As a matter of fact, Dundee of IPG here said they were almost too nice at some point. And I totally agree. It was just like, dude, why are you taking so long? This makes no sense. And you have to keep in mind, too, the Atlanta Police Department is 60% black. All right? 60% black. So this isn't a racist, systemically racist police organization. They went out of their way to be kind to this guy. And then once he was arrested, because he had driven under the influence, of alcohol. So once he was arrested, he began to fight. And you guys saw the video. Now, based on the video and based on the law, I don't want to minimize it. I know people are suffering. Someone lost a family member. Someone lost a son, brother. But I say free Garrett Rolfe, which is the officer that shot him. Free him now. Let me ask you this question. Take away the video. Take away, it's an election season. Take away, you're not part of the red team. You're not part of the blue team. If I just came to you, Tony, if I came to you, J-Dog, and I just said, there was this case, you don't know the skin color, a guy beat up 2 cops, he stole a taser from a cop, and I like to say weapon. We like to minimize it. Oh, it's just a taser, it's just a taser, as if, all these Monday morning quarterbacks know what they would do when your adrenaline is pumping within seconds. So he stole a taser. One of the cops gets hit with the taser. That cop falls, has a concussion. The other cop chases after him. He points back the taser, shoots over the cop's head, narrowly missing the cop's head with the taser. The cop fires a couple of shots and puts him down. And by the way, the district attorney just 2 weeks prior said, hey, if someone uses a taser in Georgia law, it's considered a deadly weapon. So if I just told you that story, would you be like, man, okay, what would your reaction be if I just told you that story? Without knowing, black, white, not an election season, realistically, and for those of you in the viewing audience, what do you think
I would have to side with the officer on that. If someone's aiming a taser at you, the possibility of them, what they would do, what they wouldn't do, they would do anything.
Right.
Plus, you have a firearm on you, so if they incapacitate you, gain control of your firearm, and now can shoot you. So,
all right, so put in that light, J Dog.
Mm-hmm.
What would you think? Take away, just pretend like we don't know the color of the people and we're not in this season.
Sure. I mean, just looking at the facts of the case, immediately I would side with the officer. However, I would want to know more information before I come to a final judgment.
Okay, so you guys have to know this about J Dog. He's a little more diplomatic than I am. No, I would. No, and that's reasonable. He's absolutely right. We should know more information. The problem with watching video is we don't know all of the legalities, illegalities, and we try to put ourselves in a situation and say that we could perform this particular situation better. And here's what I would encourage everyone to do that says, I've heard some people say the dumbest things like, why didn't he just shoot him in the leg and so on, etc. So I want you to pretend like someone just beat you up. You're in fear for your life. Adrenaline is pumping. You're not going to be able to recreate that. So here's what I suggest you do. And I suggested this on my show on Wednesday night. I want you to go knock on your neighbor's door, whoever has the scariest dog in the neighborhood that'll bite you. I want you to grab a gun, maybe a laser gun, maybe a paint gun or whatever, and just see how accurate you are. I want you to ask them to have their dog chase you when you're in extreme fear and see if you can shoot and point accurately and think straight. If you can do that, then you have a right, in my opinion, to say that this officer should have done something differently. Or if you're a cop and you've experienced such situations, then you have a right to say, hey, this cop should have done differently. I can say this. I'm an expert in criminal justice, Tony. I don't know if you know this. Did you know that, J-Dog?
You're an expert in being a criminal.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't know about the law
I didn't say
part.
which side of the law. I just said I'm an expert in criminal justice. But the people come to me as the expert. So since I used to be a criminal, I can tell you that it makes me laugh when I hear people say, oh, he could have done this, he could have done, even the attorneys of Rayshard Brooks' family. He could have done this, he could have done, whenever I hear people say that, I'm like, they've never been in a situation with violent crime because you don't think clearly. You are in complete survival mode. It's so crazy because things go extremely fast, but they go extremely slow. It's almost like it is the weirdest phenomenon that you will ever feel. So, considering the fact that an assailant beat up a cop, 2 cops as a matter of fact, don't give me this taser stuff. I know people are trying to say taser, a taser is nothing. No, the person an ex-con stole a weapon from a cop after beating up a cop, fled the scene, and as the cop chases him down with the taser at first, right? If you watch the video, the cop chasing him had his taser out, and then the guy fires the taser. Well, the DA just said 2 weeks prior that a taser is a deadly weapon. So the cop shoots. And by the way, with those specific types of tasers, remember, you have tunnel vision, your adrenaline is pumping, and all you can see is you don't have, like we're watching on video, he could have done that. He should have did this right there, because you're completely calm and you're not in the situation. But when you're in the situation, it's as quick as, oh my God, you're reacting that quickly. So all you Monday morning quarterbacks, I don't even like using the term here, but I'm growing more accustomed to it. Shut up. You're not being logical. You're not being reasonable. And also, you need to keep in mind, this taser, the front of that taser is black, like a gun, with black stripes in the front. Yeah, the rest of it is yellow. But look at the front of the taser, boom, like that, you're not looking at yellow. You're looking at a black front. If he was even able to pick that up, quite frankly.
Well, this question was posed in the chat, but it was also something that was on my mind was, I didn't hear any of this about the other officer being taken down, being shot with the taser in the media at all.
Of course you didn't, because it's an election year.
So if you think, like one of my, partners got taken down, that's another thing that's on his mind. You just saw a fellow police officer fall to the ground,
Right.
being tased, and now he's after this guy, not knowing what he's capable of.
Right.
Whether they patted him down, whether they knew he didn't have a weapon. As soon as they went to put the cuffs on, he turned on him and started a fight.
Yeah, it's absolute nonsense what's going on, and it's political expediency. For those of you, I think correct me if I'm wrong, please look this up, J-Dog. I think the district attorney is Paul Howard Jr., if I recall his name correctly. So this is a guy under investigation. He's trying to get reelected this year, but he's under investigation because there's been an issue with fraud and money, approximately $140,000 in money that he created some organization or something. So illegalities. He also has 2 complaints of sexual harassment within the office. So this guy is fighting for his political life, and if this thing with the money turns out to be true, he's fighting for his freedom. So what does he want to do? He wants to get on the good side of the voters, right? So that he can be reelected, so he can keep that power. And meanwhile, in this atmosphere, when you can call anybody racist and it sticks, he's just throwing this cop under the bus. It's really sad what's going on. This cop should be released today. I mean, released today. It is unreal that this guy has spent a minute in jail. Now, I can understand a cop or someone that says, he could have done this, he could have done this, that have been in that situation. But even cops that I've listened to on this, tons of them have said, even black cops. I was actually, I got to be honest with you, I've heard several black cops in interviews say, maybe I would have handled it different, but I don't know, not being in the situation. But legally, he handled that correct. I mean, it was a justifiable shooting. Well, he shot him in the back. He was a fleeing suspect that turned to shoot the cop. He was an ex-con. When he caught him, he had already beat him up, and his partner. What was he going to do? I mean, people, we need to think this stuff through in its entirety. And my fear is that we listen to the media, we look at the headlines, we see the video, and we allow leftists to frame the video the way they want to frame it, and then we just stop thinking. And it's like, no. Man, you have to pull back. You have to try to see both sides of that argument. Because it's, to me, it's just ludicrous.
I just wonder how many cops are looking for another line of work now.
Tons. So many cops are dropping. It's a great point. Tons of cops are leaving the job. Several in Atlanta have left, and many of them are just calling in sick. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the Ferguson effect, because who in their right mind wants to go out and protect people, and yet you're being called a racist? You're the mayor there, Lakeisha Bottoms, won't back you. The DA is crooked as all get out and just trying to get elected. Why even bother going to work? If I was a cop, I'd walk away. Because there's no way I'm sitting there protecting citizens, and then the citizens turn on me, the leadership turns on me, the DA is crooked as all get out turns on me. I'm walking away. And then all you people that say you want to defund cops, okay, you got it. Because now it's going to be the wild, wild west up in Atlanta. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. I didn't even get to Derek Chauvin. I have to get to this later, because based on the information I know, oh my God, even he maybe should walk.